Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Wake Up Workday Morning Show. I am your host, Tony Gilfillan. Good to see you guys again. Um, First thing I wanted to cover is um, it is going to be our last stream for the month. Next week is Thanksgiving week, and we'll be taking a little break, and we'll be back the week after December. What is that? December 5th, December 3rd, something like that. December 1st. So we will be back after today, December 1st. And with that, that brings me to a couple things I want to share with you guys. So next week is Black Friday. I am not a huge fan of Black Friday, but there are a couple sites that I do want to call out. If you guys are interested in 3D printing, Bamboo Lab is holding a pretty cool sale. This is actually the printer I use, the P1S. I am not sponsored by them at all. These are literally just products that I personally use and just see a pretty good value in this actual sale. Again, not a huge fan of Black Friday. If you're buying TVs and stuff, generally those are poor quality TVs that they're trying to hawk off for Black Friday. But Bamboo, I can definitely vouch they are a quality product. And then next, if you are an Apple user, this is about the only time of year that you'll get something a little bit discounted for them. If you want to buy a new phone or AirPods or anything like that, you'll get a gift card with your purchase. Again, not sponsored by Apple at all, just a tip for you guys if you wanted to delve into the Black Friday madness. I am not a huge fan of going to actual stores during Black Friday. Alrighty, where we left off yesterday with our app, we had a minor issue with the API call and the displaying of the data on the side um, of the card itself. So the string was coming through a little funny. I did kind of get into a groove yesterday and fix it all. So we'll just kind of recap what that looks like and where the issues were. But this is the kind of the completed app that we've finished here. So we have, again, we started with our little wrapper API that pulled in stock data. It uses an orchestration to pull that data, push it into a business object, and then display that data onto a home card. And lastly, what we've been working on the last day or two is this actual Claude implementation. So pushing that data from our API into Claude to get an analysis of the stock. So let's jump over to the actual app and we'll take a look first at the orchestration. We'll go through the whole thing since it is kind of in a complete state at this point. First off, we were hitting that secondary API. This is the wrapper API that normalizes the data for us into those fields. We'll go ahead and debug it just so we can see all the fields that are coming back that we're still using. Again, this is all of the fields that we're going to be using then to then push into our Claude prompt. So the close, the change percentage, high, low, what it opened at, what it closed at yesterday, and then the timestamp of when this data was retrieved. And then it creates values for all those data that we're able to then use in our Claude string. So the prompt that we're actually going to send to Claude, we need those values and we need to be able to retrieve those values. So this is that create values that is doing exactly that. And then next, let's actually run this so our API can tell that it does exist. And then if we go to the next one, this is actually creating that string that we're going to input into the Claude API to then pull back our data. Again, this is all the values that we've created in that last step. And then we're going to run our create string. Let's go ahead and look at that first before we look at this one. A bit larger than strings. So it's a little scarier than it appears to be, but it's really just a big long string that pulls in those values as well. So it's a string. Hi Claude, do some analysis on the following data. I can't make it a little bigger. On the following data and make it simple. Actually, honest. make it simple, a simple buy, sell, or hold assumption based on the following numbers. And then I plug in all of our fancy numbers, the high of the day, the low of the day, the current price, the percentage of the change, what it opened at, what it closed at the day before. And then I also specify output using HTML tags because we are going to be throwing this into a rich text field to be able to display this within a Workday PMD page. And I specify that new lines and headings do not output a full HTML page because yesterday I had it throw out an HTML at me, but it was a full page with headers and all kinds of metadata that I don't really particularly need on a page. Back here, so this, or let's see what this string actually looks like. We click the play button. So it is the full string, has all my numbers plugged in there, and again, I want it to output in HTML tags. Go to our next step here. This is our actual Claude call. We had this function yesterday, but we just had a hard-coded value in there. But now that we have our prompt with all of our values coming back from our stock API, we're able to actually get some meaningful data out of Claude when we hit the play button. When Claude does its thing, it's going to actually output me text string in HTML format that I'm able to use directly in my page. Here's my response, here's the content, and I'm able to, again, just kind of throw that directly into my page. And then last, I'm putting that into my business object so I don't have to run this orchestration every single time that page loads because, again, we have some longer running APIs here. That wrapper API takes a minute to wake up because it's running on a free instance. And then my Claude API might take a little bit just from processing time. So we don't want to have the user wait for all of that data to come back in every time they log in to Workday onto that home page, because that would get pretty annoying if nothing pops up when you log into your home page. So we want it to already be in our business object so that WQL can instantly pull that to our page within a couple seconds. And then if we go to our app now, so once we have our functioning orchestration, we can go to our app and take a look at what all that we have done here. So first off, we have our card. Here's our card. We had this functioning yesterday as well, just the current price and last updated. I stuck in a handy little footer here because what's coming back from Claude is a little bit more robust than what I would think is necessary for a card. That could get pretty jumbled and not exactly helpful to stick in such a small real estate. So I put it in a separate PMD page to be able to see this particular analysis in a different page. But the card itself is relatively simple. All it does is use my endpoint that does use that separate WQL query that we built earlier this week. All it's doing is pulling back from our business object the stock ticker, last updated current price, created moment, Workday ID, and the response from Claude that we're plugging in. This card is also secured by the card tenant settings that specifies which domain is actually securing that particular card. So we can specify who can see that card, who can't see that card, who can modify it, all that good stuff, as well as the page route to be able to navigate to it. And then our business object, again, pretty simple. Have those 4 fields: stock ticker, current price, last updated, and Claude response. And then what I haven't showed you yet is our page. So this is the actual stock analysis. This is coming from that stock info as well. Again, it's pulling just that same data that our card is pulling and getting just the Claude response. So if we do the full flow here off of the stock info, so this is what folks are going to see on the home page. This pops up there. They see the current price. They see the last updated. It's relatively it's been pulled recently, and then we can hit the AI analysis and jump to our secondary page and see the full breakdown of what Claude broke down for us. So it's got all of our data that we plugged into it, as well as observations that Claude is seeing. Strong upward movement, daily range of about $5. Currently trading 95% of the day's high, so that's good. And it's recommending a buy for the stock on this particular day. So again, you could update this regularly using an integration. We had that yesterday. Did blow up. There was an extra uh, integration attribute that wasn't populated, that was essentially saying that it wasn't text or XML, so that had to be removed. And now you can schedule this to run, twice, 3 times, 24 times a day, up to whatever API limits you're kind of looking at there. But essentially, yeah, this is pulling in on a regular basis, so folks will be able to see that stock data come in. Pretty neat. So that kind of wraps up this app itself. I'm not going to add anything more to this, but I think next time I want to start kind of from scratch and build an agent. So that's kind of um, what brings me to my next topic, is kind of what is all this AI stuff, and why does it really matter for Workday? Like, why doing all this agent stuff, and what's so different than just plugging in those AI APIs directly into our apps, just like what I did. So essentially, what we did is all on the left here, and you can pretty much ignore everything on the right for our app that we just built. So we are using AI, we are using APIs, we are using all the good stuff within Extend, but it's not agentic, is what you would call it. So it's not doing really anything on top of just pulling some data back from an API. So that external API, that Claude API that we were using, was essentially what we did here. We just used a Claude API, plugged it into our middleware, which is our orchestration integration, and then we're displaying that data onto Workday. But what is all this stuff over on the right here? The agents, the MCP servers, the tools, all that other fancy stuff that everyone's talking about these days. So basically, you can turn all of these APIs and all of these actions and all the things that our apps are doing into tools. And then those agents are able to utilize those tools and be able to make decisions and make um, changes to different applications based on those tools. So it's able to automate a lot more quickly and give a lot more power to these agents themselves. So that's scary and cool at the same time, because your agents can do a lot more damage, so you have to be very cognizant of what exactly you're putting into these tools, and then also what kind of scopes those particular tools have. So obviously, you need to be much more stringent when it comes to security on the MCP server side of things. Like, you can't just open up every single API and dump it in the tools, and then your agent would be this master agent that could do whatever you want, whenever you want. And that's the last thing that we want to open up for everybody, is just basically that Terminator like agent that's going to blow everything up. Um, so next time when we meet in December, I want to jump into Flowise, and I kind of want to give you guys a sneak peek of that. My Flowise is up and running. So as you remember, earlier this week, we had Cursor create a couple things for us, a MCP server and I can remember my pet here. There we go. We had it create an MCP server for us. We had it create a Flowise instance for us. And now we can start developing our actual agents here. So now we have an MCP server, we have agents, and now we can start creating apps that can do all of the things that we're doing over on this left side. But we're going to basically let this agent here do it for us. So say, instead of creating a full-on work card application that goes and calls Claude and has all this hard-coded information, we can essentially just plug in tool itself saying this is a Claude API, this is a Workday Extend API. I want to save stock data and notify my users on a regular basis about current stock price and whether or not the right rating is a buy, sell, hold, whatever. And that you could essentially plug all of those tools into the MCP server and then tell the agent, I want to, create a notification that does this on this amount of date. So we're basically going to try and build an agent that is smarter than what our application was. So our application is nice. It's handy. It's, right in your face when you log in. But let's see if we can create something that is basically, creating this experience without having to have a full-blown application out there and deployed. So to do that, I'm also going to kind of stub this out for you guys on my actual Flowise instance, if I can find it. Oh, too many windows open. All right. So here's Flowise. I'll give you guys a quick tour here before we start stubbing this little agent out. Chat flows are very simple agents. Chat flows and agent flows are both agents. They both work like that. But chat flows themselves are essentially only for very simple interactions. You ask it something, it goes out and does another thing, and then it returns back a chat. Agents flows do a heck of a lot more. So like these are agents that can use other agents. These are agents that can orchestrate with certain things. These are agents that basically do a lot more and make a lot more use of those tools, those MCP server tools. Down here at the bottom, this is just executions. This is basically what you've run. You can the logs that have come back from your agents. This assistant. These are basically just assistant tools that you can create like custom, very similar. If you've gone into ChatGPT or Claude, you can create custom LLMs, custom models, very similar to that. I've not really delved into here, but I'm pretty sure these are just pre-built stuff that folks have thrown out onto the marketplace. These are the tools that your agents can actually use. This is separate from the MCP server we spun up, but you can basically create tools for your agent to be able to use here based on the MCP schema. You can put your own credentials in here. I won't click on any of these because these are my actual personal credentials. You can stick in some global variables. And again, your API keys, very similar to the credentials, but these are going to be your Flowise API and SDK credentials. And a document store. So if you want to dump a bunch of stuff into your Flowise doc store and then utilize that to, teach your LLM whichever particular amount of data you're trying to actually retrieve and augment and show on your agent, this is where you can do that doc store. Obviously, you can also do a third-party document store if you're trying to grab from any other particular document store. So let's go to our agent flow here, and we're going to create. Every single flow here is going to have a start, and single flow has to end with either an agent or a direct reply. So the agents themselves, you just drag and drop, and that goes for all of the different things here. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do within these agent builders. There's condition logic, there's custom functions, which is custom code. Again, that direct reply, this is just sending information directly back to your excuse me, to your user. And then executing a flow, this can actually execute a separate agent or a separate chat flow. Just a very generic HTTP request you can do. Human input, so this is basically going back to the human that's interacting with your agent to request some sort of approval or some sort of additional input. You can iterate through different things. You can attach an LLM from wherever. Pretty sure there's a lot of different connectors in here, but again, you can specify which LLM you'd like your agent to use. And then you can drop another starting point in here. I haven't really played around with why you would want to drop another starting point in here. Maybe you can have different starting points based on a condition. I haven't really played with that too much. Sticky notes, basically you can document in here just using these sticky notes. These don't do anything. They're literally just documentation. And then lastly is the tools themselves. These are those tools that your agent can use to build this out. So very quickly, let's kind of just throw together a few different steps here to see what our agent could do. First, before we manually do it, let's see if our little AI flow agent can do this for us. So we have Anthropic, I believe. 4.5 is the latest. And we'll ask it to create me a stock evil event that can give a buy, sell, hold on a ticker. So this is going to attempt to throw in some steps here for us. Not like that. Let's try ChatGPT. I think that I've got credentials in there for that as well. All right. Oh, there we go. Taking a minute to pull up the models. Go ahead and use the latest. Try this again. Create. Pull a stock ticker. Buy, sell, or hold. Didn't like that one. Let's see if it can just do one of these auto-generated ones. An agent that can autonomously search the web and generate a report. All right, so it looks like something is not working well there. That's all right. So we can just drop some things in here and kind of stub out what we're wanting to do. So we have an agent. We have to connect our start to our agent. So all this is doing right now is when you talk to this, and you can actually test over here on the right. Need to restart my Flowise. Anyways, this should be a chat window that you can talk to. Let me pull my Flowise up here. That's full code. All right, start these servers again. Kind of stuck on something. Might be going on here. Starting my server up again, and I had some files here that I did not approve yesterday, so that might have been why it's all gummed up. I could run these commands in my terminal, but again, I'm lazy and I just like to have them run it for me. I'll check to see if they're up and running again. Refresh here. Something seems wrong with my Flowise instance here. I should see a chat window that you should be able to interact here even without any steps in there. You just throw in like a direct reply. This, all it would literally do is just return what you have in this direct reply. So this is basically as simple as it comes. So again, very basic agent technically. It just responds to hello world, but now let's throw in an agent. Now we have a agent that we can tie to an LLM. Use Claude. Potential. I'll be able to talk to Claude. I did not save it. Still thinks it's just a direct reply. Other here. Anyway, so you guys get the idea. Pretty easy drag and drop interface. I need to sort out my credentials for hitting these APIs. But from here, you just kind of drag and drop and throw in what you're trying to do. Put in tools to your MCP server to let your agent do the things that you're wanting to do. And then from here, you can actually embed this agent kind of wherever you need it. You can throw it in a Python app. You can put it in directly into an HTML page. And you can share it all over the place. Maybe we'll do like some sort of Slack integration or something like that, just to throw it in some different spot. But anyway, that's kind of the quick and dirty what Flowise is, and we will start building an agent next time, December 1st. Enjoy you guys' holiday week next week, and we will see you then. Thanks all.